Good evening and thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News 10 at 10, where we give you more news in less time. I'm Whitney Ward. Mark is off tonight. We begin with a major wildfire. It is burning along the Idaho-Oregon border. It is the Durkee fire that is now the largest fire burning in the country at almost 245,000 acres. It is currently 0% contained. According to our Boise sister station, it's the 7th largest in Oregon's history. That fire has prompted on and off closures on I-84 for days. At a meeting this evening, the Forest Service said they don't expect this fire to be contained until at least August 8th. Take a look at this. Chelan Fire and Rescue taking a boat to help crews already fighting the Pioneer Fire. That fire district posted this video this morning, and you can see they loaded up everything, even their trucks, and headed towards Stehekin. They joined crews from Spokane County, Lewis, Benton, and Skagit counties as well. The Pioneer Fire is currently burning at about 30,000 acres charred already. We are also tracking two major fires burning near Keller tonight, the Swawilla Fire and the Bridge Creek Fire, both prompting evacuations at this hour. KREM 2's Connor McAvoy is in the town right now. He spoke with the incident commander as well as several people who live in Keller. We'll hear from him later on in our show. In the meantime, though, we are now less than 24 hours away from another red flag warning. So meteorologist Michelle Boss is telling us about the fire danger still high, even though, Michelle, you said it's not that hot anymore tomorrow.
Yeah, so we do have some improvements in our weather, in the fact that we are going to see much cooler temperatures tomorrow, but two things are going to be getting worse, I should say. The wind is going to be stronger, and we are just not seeing any moisture in our atmosphere. So very dry weather across the inland northwest. So you get the increased winds, the very dry conditions, and that still causes problems with the ongoing wildfires out there and can help them spread even faster. Looking at the current wind speeds right now, not that bad. 10-mile-per-hour sustained winds in Spokane, a little bit breezy out towards Ritzville and Wenatchee with sustained winds between 10 and 15 miles per hour. But we do expect those winds to increase overnight and through the day tomorrow. Overnight, not that big of a deal. Temperatures are cooler, relative humidities are higher, but even during the day with the cooler temperatures tomorrow, it is still going to be pretty hot and dry out there. So the red flag warning will be in effect tomorrow afternoon and evening for dry and breezy conditions. Wind gust up to 30 miles per hour and low relative humidity. We did have some lightning out in the southern Idaho panhandle. Got some light rainfall mounts, but nothing really locally across the Palouse, just a trace. And of course, very dry conditions elsewhere across the region. Temperatures right now still very warm, but the cold front is coming through tonight, and we'll see cooler temperatures tomorrow, topping out in the upper 70s and lower 80s over the next couple of days. But again, the dry and breezy conditions going to be a problem tomorrow.
America's going to have to choose between moving forward or backward, between hope and hate, between unity and division.
President Biden making his first extensive remarks tonight about his decision to step away from his re-election efforts and endorse Vice President Kamala Harris for the Democratic presidential nomination. We go now to the White House, where CBS's Skylar Henry has the latest.
I believe my record as president, my leadership in the world, my vision for America's future, all merited a second term. But nothing can come in the way of saving our democracy.
In a primetime Oval Office address, President Biden spoke to the nation about his decision to drop out of the 2024 presidential race.
So I've decided the best way forward is to pass the torch to a new generation. That's the best way to unite our nation.
When he announced over the weekend that he's no longer seeking re-election, Biden threw his full support behind Vice President Kamala Harris for the nomination.
The defense of democracy, which is at stake, I think is more important than any title. I draw strength and I find joy in working for the American people.
President Biden, who stepped down under intense pressure following his poor debate performance last month, says he plans on staying in office until the next president is inaugurated in January.
They'll continue to lower costs for hardworking families, grow our economy. I'll keep defending our personal freedoms and our civil rights, from the right to vote to the right to choose.
In Charlotte, North Carolina, former President Donald Trump held his first rally since President Biden exited the race.
But really what happened was the leaders of the Democrat Party, in a very undemocratic move, the bosses, they said either you get out or we're going to throw you out. using the 25th Amendment. That's what happened. You know that.
On Thursday, Vice President Harris is set to deliver a keynote address in Houston to the annual meeting of the American Federation of Teachers. Skylar Henry, CBS News, Washington.
New tonight, Boeing has agreed to plead guilty to a fraud charge related to the 737 MAX jetliner crash that killed 346 people. According to a newly filed plea agreement, the company and the Justice Department reached a deal in which Boeing admits to defrauding the FAA that evaluated the plane. The deal calls for the company to use an independent compliance monitor, 3 years of probation, and a nearly $250 million fine. The deal now heads to a U.S. district judge for approval. Now turning to Night Beat with a quick look at the day's other top stories. A woman has filed an intent to sue the Kootenai County Sheriff tonight. The sheriff is offering a $10,000 reward for help in that potential lawsuit. The sheriff's office put out a statement yesterday offering $10,000 of the sheriff's own money to prove that he did not make derogatory statements about a woman during a campaign event in April. That woman has now filed an intent to sue Bob Norris personally for defamation. The sheriff posted the statement on the official sheriff's office letterhead and Facebook page, and that raised some questions. We reached out to ask the Secretary of State's office, who told us though it is allowed. We also reached out to Sheriff Norris. He was not available for interviews though today. Tonight, Spokane police are still searching for a man suspected of robbing a Spokane convenience store at gunpoint. We first showed you these pictures just last night at 10 and 11. The robbery happened yesterday afternoon near North Central High School. Police say the suspect is a male who was wearing a black sweatshirt and blue jeans. They also believe he may have robbed another convenience store last Thursday. If you recognize him or have any information, you're asked to please call 911. West Bonner County School District trustee Troy Reinbold is stepping down from his job. Our news partners at the Bonner County Daily Bee found out that he made that decision based on increased responsibilities both at work and with his family. He was briefly investigated for potential failure to perform his duties as a board member this past fall after he had repeatedly missed meetings. His written resignation will be taken up by the board 1 week from today. That was your Night Beat. If you'd like to learn more about any of those stories, just head to our website, KREM.com. And that was KREM 2 News 10 at 10 as well, where you get more news in less time. But